All righty. Welcome back from the episode of Two Plane Sports. Today, we've got a great episode for you. We're going to do a whole offensive side of the ball breakdown, position group breakdown. We're going to talk a little wide receiver. Brandon has a strong opinion, a very bold opinion there. A little bit of offensive lineman talk, quarterback and tight end over the next, this upcoming season. As you can see, I've joined like Jose. We've decided to move. Jose's in his prison cell. I'm in a new place now. Going to have to set this one up. And Brandon's going to be joining the club, and he's going to be moving here pretty quick as well. So we're all deciding to move in the month of July. But before we get into it, we just want to say we appreciate it. We're almost at 4,600 subscribers. Help us get us there. We're like 20 something away. Hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell. We were going to go live on August 1st at 8 p.m. Central. And, we post Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 9:30 Central. And if you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify, be sure to leave us a review. That helps us out quite a bit. And we'll go ahead and get into it.
Brum, did you watch the last episode, bud?
I did not. I did not watch the last episode.
Look at that. This man doesn't even watch the episodes that he's not a part of. But you sure push people watching it, don't you?
Yeah, I know. I just didn't catch the last one. Jose is muted.
Propaganda pushing.
Yes, I am pushing the propaganda, but I don't watch the product when I'm not a part of it.
Oh, also, host, show everybody your drink of choice tonight. It's pretty neat.
Drinking Brum.
Classic. Never seen that one before. Brandon, what are you having, a Corona?
Good old Corona, yeah.
Corona. All right. So which position do you want to talk with? I mean, I feel like quarterback is pretty much a slam dunk.
Ralph Rucker.
Ralph Rucker.
Actually, you know
General
what?
Booty.
Who do we think is going to be the backup? I feel like that's better conversation for this position. I think we all agree it's Dylan Gabriel's the starter. Who's number 2?
Nick Evers.
General Booty.
I think it's the general.
You guys just like his name. You don't. For what reason?
He was the leading JUCO quarterback.
Yeah.
Nick Evers.
I think Nick Evers who else came out of JUCO? Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen. What if the general's next?
I mean, that'd be awesome. I really hope that he is, but I think Nick Evers is the backup. I like Nick Evers. I'm a big fan of Nick Evers.
I don't think he's a backup just because of the fact that he's going to need a red shirt.
Well, he very well could redshirt and still be the backup if he never plays.
Well, I feel like you might as well just keep a guy that's not – you don't have to worry about. He can just be on scout team, and the general can just lead second team.
Yeah, I mean, General did have a little over 3,400 yards and 27 touchdowns last year, at Tyler Junior College. I think from what I've seen and what I've read, it seems like he's really pushing for that second role or that second starting or second string position, not starting position. But the big deal is this whole position is Dylan Gabriel has to stay healthy this whole year.
Speaking of Dylan Gabriel, how cool is it, his leadership retreat stuff that he's been doing? I think this is the second one. The first one, it was kind of just a mix of people. We had quarterbacks, receivers, kind of everything. And I thought it was cool this weekend. He was at the lake with the big boys up front, the two planes of OU. That was pretty cool. I think he's, if anything else, he's showing that he's going to be a hell of a leader.
I agree. It seems like it's a total night and day difference. Maybe, the last quarterback and the last staff, they did that ever so often, whether it was Rattler or Caleb Williams, but just the way the team was, they played together. They just didn't seem like they genuinely like each other. It seems like now they actually really enjoy each other. I mean, it's pretty cool that he's doing that. And they're talking about doing more.
And he's using, and I'm assuming all this like funds for doing this stuff is coming from his NIL partnerships. That's pretty cool. I feel like, when he's kind of doing what he's going to do, hopefully if he makes the league, like every quarterback gives things to their offensive linemen, takes them on trips every once in a while. He's kind of getting used to that leadership role that he'll need to have practice in once he makes it to the NFL.
I will say that this is a good way because obviously most of the NIL money is going to quarterbacks. And that's the highest paid position in the NFL. It makes sense. But this is a way to make sure that your teammates aren't upset. I mean, most people are genuinely happy that you're getting your money and you're making as much as you can. But there's got to be a sense of jealousy that if you're a starting left tackle for Oklahoma, I mean, you're going to get drafted in the NFL, but if you're really good, it would be hard to see Gabriel be making, $1 million a year and you're making 50 grand. But this is a good way to, kind of bridge that gap a little bit per se and kind of get them to all buy in on the, in goal. So I think General Booty, Jose agrees with me. Brandon says Nick Evers.
I'm
really
rocking
interesting
Nick
to
Evers.
see. Not that I don't think
Evers.
Nick Evers is good. I just think that whole year of junior college is definitely quite an advantage. All right, so we'll move on to the next position group. That I feel like there isn't going to be a ton of discussion or debate is the tight end position group. I think Braden Willis is the clear cut number one. Now Daniel Parker will come in and play quite a bit in the running packages and things like that. I think Braden Willis is primed for a big year. It seems like he's going to be utilized in this offense with Levy. Brandon, do you agree, disagree? I mean, I feel like this one's pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the Braden Willis show at tight end one. I definitely agree with Daniel Parker kind of being the second tight end and that run blocking tight end. I'm curious to see, and hopefully we do see a little bit of Caden Helms. I just think he's going to be pretty explosive with the ball in his hands. He reminds me, like we talked about before, like the Aaron Hernandez in a two tight end set. I feel like he can split out wide. He kind of has that to his game. I hope we see a little bit of Caden Helms this year.
Yeah, I don't know. I was actually thinking about like how Caden will fit this year. And it's at least like if we just look at the spring game, did he get any snaps during the spring game? If he did, it was probably very little.
I believe he did, but it wasn't a great deal of snaps or anything.
Yeah, it just seems like they're really trying to build him physically right now. I mean, he did play mainly at receiver in high school, so he probably didn't really have to worry about packing on pounds up until he got to college.
Yeah, and Caden Helms, I think, has an extremely high ceiling. He's just more of a guy that, while he might play a little bit, he's definitely going to be kind of more of a long-term next year or two to develop him into more of a, Division I, Power 5 tight end.
Llewellyn might be more ready to play this year. He has a bigger body, just in case you need him for, extra run blocking.
Yeah, I mean, he could be brought in a 2 tight end set for run.
What about Cade McIntyre?
Well, McIntyre won't
23.
play this fall.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He's 23. He's fun.
Yeah, I mean, he's huge. I mean, we'll have to be talking about him next year at this time. But yeah, I think Braden Willis, number one. Daniel Parker probably play a decent amount, but it'd be interesting to see if they get him involved in the pass game, because everyone's just assuming he's going to block, and I feel like they might design a few plays for him to go out for passes when no one's paying attention to him and catch some people by surprise.
He caught a game-winning 2-point conversion against Florida last year, I think.
Was that him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it looks like he can catch a football. So, again, I think the tight end spot's pretty clear cut as the number one. And I think the rest of these positions, for the most part, outside of some of the offensive line positions, there's going to be some good debate. Let's move into the running back spot. This one's going to be tough. So day one, first game against UTEP. Who's your starter? I think it's going to be Eric Gray. I think he starts game one, and let's just start with there. Jose, what do you think? Do you agree with me on Eric Gray day one as a starter? And do you see him keeping that role throughout the year?
Do you want to name? You just want to name one right now, just like for UTEP, who's going to be stepping out there first, kind of? Okay. Yeah, I think it's Eric. I think it's Javonte Barnes, actually. I think he impressed during the spring game, and I can't like he's. I think he's good enough that he'll impact the field now. And Eric Gray is more of a change of pace running back or pass catcher. So I don't know. I have a hard time seeing him as the number one running back, even if he is the more senior guy in the room.
I I agree with you, bro. I think Eric Gray starts the season at running back 1 against UTEP, but I think that quickly changes. Maybe not quickly, but a couple weeks in the season. And I'm also very high on Javonte Barnes. I've been high on him all off season, but I'm also curious to see what Marcus Major does. This whole group is deep, and it's the most interesting debate I think that we're gonna have.
Yeah, I have a hard time. I don't know. I think Eric Gray, one running back will not get 75% of the snaps in any game. I don't think. So this is going to be kind of a running back by committee. It's going to be kind of a two horse type deal. I think Eric Gray is the one constant through this whole season. I really do.
I disagree.
I can see it. I think I can see it. But okay, I know that I feel like the popular answer amongst the fan base is Marcus Major will be starter day 1. I mean, I disagree, but it's not because I don't think he's a talented guy. It's more so his availability has been pretty shoddy. So hopefully he isn't, ineligible for grades again, or, and he was able to prove that he does deserve to be on the field. But I don't think he'll be day 1 starter. I think Eric Gray, in my opinion, is the right answer. I don't know how much Marcus Major stays on the field, though, because Tawi Walker impressed just as much in the spring game, and I feel like him and Marcus Major would have similar roles in how they play as a running back.
I was going to bring that up too, because I definitely agree with Brum. I don't think it's going to be one running back kind of leading the way or getting the majority of the carries. I think it's going to be pretty evenly split. But if it's going to be 3 running backs, which might be fair to say, right? I think it's going to be Marcus Major. I think maybe Marcus Major, Javonte Barnes, and Eric Gray would be my 3. You guys have. I guess you're picking Tawi Walker over Marcus Major, Hose, as the season progresses.
Yep.
See, I would agree with you, Brandon. I think it's the flashy pick is to take Tawi Walker. I think it's going to be Eric Gray, Marcus Major, and Javonte Barnes. I think Tawi Walker is going to be heavily involved next year. Once Marcus Major either goes to the NFL or transfers, I just don't see, like I've been saying, I don't think Major will be on this roster come next season, one way or another. So I think, if Major does get hurt, Tawi Walker is the guy that is the biggest beneficiary, or if, Major has some other issue. I just think Tawi Walker comes in, while he did look good in a spring game, I struggle sometimes. We have to keep that in perspective, that at the end of the day, that was a spring game and that is a scrimmage. And we have to realize that he did look good. I'm not saying that he can't play. I do think he'll be a contributor down the road. I just feel like this might be more of a year for him to sit back and learn and get a little more experience. I think Major knows that, and it's going to be like similar to Wease. My case is Major knows that this is his last chance at Oklahoma, so he's going to go all out. That's just my thoughts on that.
Yeah, he has to. I don't think if anyone beats him out for a spot, it wouldn't surprise me if he transfers like as soon as the last game of the regular season is completed. I don't think he would wait and go travel with the team to a bowl game, especially if it's not a playoff game. If it's a playoff game, maybe he'll stick around until afterwards, but I have a hard time seeing him that far into the season.
Do you guys think Gavin Sawchuk will get touches this year, or is that a next year type thing?
I think red shirt at the end of the day.
Versus UTEP, maybe. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he'll play a couple games. I mean, as long as he maintains that red shirt. I'm going to ask, so we talked 4 total running backs that between the 3 of us we see playing this fall. So with Eric Gray, I'm going to set his total yards at 1,200 yards. Over, under?
Under.
You think under?
I'm going to go like 900, 950. I think it's going to be a pretty split backfield with as far as touches and even receiving stuff goes. I don't know that he'll see the ball enough to go over 12.
Okay. Jose, what do you think?
So I'm working on looking up the stat lines for some of the guys at Ole Miss last year, but I'm going to say under, just because I I feel like that would set the expectation that he'll, even though I do agree with you that he's going to be a constant throughout the year, I don't think he'll be heavily used as we get through the season, deeper into the conference play.
That's fair. I mean, last year he did only end up having like 650 yards or so. I just feel like that he's going to be heavily involved. And then I guess Marcus Major, I'm going to ask over under 400 yards.
Over 500 or 600, maybe 700. I don't know. But I mean, I ultimately see Javonte Barnes kind of being that guy this year as far as like the leading rusher, leading receiver, I guess, out of the running backs. I think Javonte Barnes will have the most all-purpose yards out of the running back room, but I'll still take over on 400 for Major.
Okay.
These are rushing yards?
I'm just saying total yards for them.
I'll go under. Because I'm looking at the stats right now from Ole Miss, and they had one running back that had 647 rushing yards and another with 553. And Matt Corral did a lot of running too. So it'd be tough to get over, what would you say, 400 for Marcus Major, even if he is running back number 2?
But that's all-purpose yards. Like, that's kind of receiving yards too. You don't think you can get 400 yards in the whole season?
No, because I think he'll be number 3 in the running back group if he stays on long enough. Like I said, I think Tommy Walker could take minutes away from him.
That's true.
Yeah,
you did pick that.
I think Major's over 400 total yards, and then Javonte Barnes. I'm going to set his total yards at 500.
I'm picking the over on that. I think he's going to be close to 1,000. I think Javonte Barnes is going to have a pretty big year.
I'm going to pick over, but I'm going to pick more around the 800 mark. Because I don't think that transition is going to happen until maybe like game 7, where we see Javonte really take over as more of the number 1 running back, and Eric Gray will have taken enough games away and touches away where he doesn't quite get to 1,000.
I think Barnes is actually going to be under. I think Gray's going to be around that 1,200 yard mark. And I think Marcus Major is going to be that 700-800 yard mark. And then I think Barnes will be 300 or 400 probably. Because I really think it's going to be a 2-horse backfield, and it's going to be Gray and Major, and they're going to sprinkle in Javonte Barnes. I think as long as Major can stay healthy, I just think that Barnes is going to be a good change of pace guy. I mean, he's going to be terrific down, in his career coming up. I don't know what to expect out of, his true freshman season.
You're easily the highest on Eric Gray here.
Yeah.
100%. Do you guys think, or I have a question, would you guys be surprised if Barnes is redshirted this year?
Yes.
Yeah, I would be surprised.
I mean, my answer is yes too, but I could also see a world where it happens because of Tommy Walker coming in. Didn't we get another running back from the transfer portal too?
The Central Florida transfer. I can't think of his name either. I know you're talking about. He has familiarity with Gabriel and Levy too, probably.
Yeah, and that's the only reason, because there's like Marcus Major's a talented guy. It's his availability again. Eric Gray's experienced, and then the 2 transfers, one of them being experienced in JUCO and the other one having familiarity with Gabriel. I think I would agree it'd be surprising, but I don't think it's completely out of the question.
Bentavious Thompson is the running back transfer. So, I mean, I would be shocked, but again, this is all based off of what he looked like in the spring, and it is a spring game at the end of the day. So, but I will say I am extremely high on Eric Gray. In his last season at Tennessee, he had over 1,000 all-purpose yards and 6 touchdowns. And I think that Levy is going to not only open up the passing game or whatnot, but I think he's going to be committed to the run, unlike last year where, for whatever reason, Oklahoma would just not commit to the run. And it was bizarre to me.
I think also last year the offense way underperformed. They didn't really play up to what I think they could have been. And a lot of that I think could have been on coaching and a bunch of different things. But I think the offensive line play will overall be very much improved, and that will only help all of these running backs. So I do agree with that take.
Imagine what Kennedy Brooks could have done. What a shame.
Yeah.
Kennedy Brooks is the most underrated running back of all time.
I agree.
He went 6th or 7th. I don't even remember. He may have went undrafted in the NFL draft to Baltimore or something. I forget who took him, Philly. I think Philly got him as an undrafted free agent, which is that's blasphemous to me.
It is hard to believe that he was just, no one wanted him for whatever reason. And, maybe if he would have stayed under Levy, and he would have excelled, but it is what it is for him. So the running back room is pretty deep. I feel pretty good about it overall. There's a lot more depth and talent than there has been over the last few years. Let's move on to the other skill position group is the wide receiver room. This one should be a pretty interesting one. I'll just start. I think Marvin Mims starts. I don't think there's really any argument there. Drake Stoops, from what I've read, and also when we went on to the JP and Trav show, Trav says that Drake Stoops is having the best spring he's ever had. He looks great. And Theo Wease. I think Theo Wease, my opinion, like I was saying with Marcus Major, Wease knows that this is his last chance. This is his time to really step up and, have a great season so he can be drafted in the NFL and have a professional career. And I think Theo Wease will take that next jump. He's been a victim of injuries more so than anything, in my opinion. It's not been a lack of talent or anything like that. And Dylan Gabriel has never had as talented receiver as like a Theo Wease is. I mean, Marvin Mims is right there as well. Those are my top three. I do see, potentially, LV Bunkley Shelton coming in and maybe kind of being another speed guy. Could JJ Hester come in and be another outside guy? Could Jaden Gibson sneak a few snaps left and right? I know Brandon thinks Jaden Gibson can do that. What do you think, Brandon?
I mean, I love Jaden Gibson's game, and I love Jalil Farouk's game. With Drake Stoops, I love him too. He's always there. But if you look at the numbers of Drake Stoops, specifically the numbers, and I know talking about the spring game hype, or not the spring game hype, just the spring overall hype, and the stuff you're reading, he's good. And he's that guy. He scores game-winning touchdowns against Texas. He scores 2-point conversions against Texas to tie the game late. He's big when you need him to be big. He scores in the bowl game against Oregon. There's no doubt he's a good player. But Drake Stoops' career high in receiving yards for a season is 291. His career high receptions in a season is 16 catches. So Drake Stoops kind of plays a role. He's the third down guy. He's big when you need him to be big. But the numbers have never really jumped off the page at you, and I don't expect that to change this year. I expect him to kind of have that similar role. I think Jalil Farouk and Jaden Gibson will ultimately have more yards receiving than Drake Stoops. I see that being the case. I think Jalil Farouk is going to play a lot, whether it means he takes Stoops' spot or maybe he slides over there to Theo Wease's spot, because Theo Wease, going back to Marcus Major thing, it's the availability thing. And you're right, it's his last season. He has all the talent in the world. We were very excited about him in the 19 class, 5-star. He can be a star, and I hope he does, because it's make or break time for him. But I think Jaden Gibson and Jalil Farouk are going to play a huge role in this offense, like a big role in this offense.
So whose spot were they taking again?
Just look at the numbers. They're there. Drake Stoops, as great as he is and as reliable as he is, he's always there. He makes the big plays. Dude has never had more than 291 yards in a season. I don't feel like it's a ridiculously hot take to say that he could be overtaken by a guy with the talent of Farouk or Jaden Gibson. And with Theo Wease, as the same thing, as talented as he is coming out, he hasn't had that season yet. And hopefully it is this year. It could be this year. He has the talent to do so. I really believe that. But we got to see it at some point. And I think there's a lot of talented guys behind him, Jaden Gibson and Jalil Farouk specifically, that they're not, they're there. And I think they're pretty good.
I just wanted you to clarify. So you're starting for Jaden, Jalil, I'm assuming Marvin, and Theo?
No, Stoops is going to start. as the season progresses or something, I guess what Stoops is always going to be that guy. He's always going to be in the slot. He's always going to be playing.
Because you didn't say that.
I don't know the starters. Marvin Mims, I agree, 100%. I think Theo Wease 100% starts the season out at the other outside position. Drake Stoops is always going to be starting, but I think there's going to be a heavy rotation with Farouk as the season progresses, maybe in the slot area. And I think Jaden Gibson at some point in the season is going to flash and potentially overtake that Wease spot.
All right. So I think the four are Marvin Mims, Theo Wease, Drake Stoops, and Jalil Farouk. Yeah. Those are going to be my four. I do think that you make a good point about Jaden Gibson getting time, but that all is going to be on, can Theo stay on the field? And it's like Brum mentioned, it's not like it's something that he's been able to control that's kept him off the field. It's literally just been he's had terrible luck his entire college career. If he stays on the field, I don't think that it's undeniable that he's got talent. And all he has to, if he looks like Mike Woods did, I think that is enough to get him to the NFL and then Jaden Gibson's turn next year. I just don't see Jaden Gibson having that much of an impact like you think he may this year, especially because of the two transfers coming in. I think they're going to be more likely to take some time away or get some time if Theo is hurt, even if it's a minor injury where he has to sit out a half or sit out a game. I think the transfers are going to get more time just because Jaden is very talented, but you also looking in the long term, let's develop him one more year just with scout team and get him ready to go so he looks like receiver number one come 2023 season, because Marvin Mims, assuming he has another really good season, he'll be league bound. Theo Wease, no matter what, this is his last year, or he might have one more year because of COVID, but I wouldn't expect him to be a Sooner if he doesn't excel and go to the NFL going into next year. And then you've got other young guys, and I think Jaden's the one that stands out amongst all the young guys in the room right now. You're muted, bud.
Oh, yeah, good call. Where I see Jaden Gibson and even JJ Hester getting some potential playing time is I could see a package of Theo Wease, Jaden Gibson, and JJ Hester. They're all, Wease and Hester are 6'3", Gibson is 6'5". You roll those three guys out and you put Drake Stoops or Marvin Mims in the slot, more of a speed guy. How do you stop that? Could that be a goal line?
If you roll that system out, I think Marvin Mims takes Drake Stoops' spot in the slot. I just, that's just me, but that's all I have to say about that.
Well, yeah, I would think Marvin Mims would if in that package, Marvin Mims would come out and take Drake Stoops' spot. And I don't think that's going to be like their starting package or anything, but I feel like there could be specific times, because I remember watching OU, defend against some of these taller wide receivers and they struggled. If you had three guys that are all 6'3" and above, I don't know how you stop it in the Big 12 without, corners that are 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", and it'd be tough to stop. But I do agree. I think my four are Theo Wease, Drake Stoops, Marvin Mims, and Jalil Farouk. I will say I do think Farouk's going to be very good. I just wonder, I think, was it on JP and Trav's show, or maybe someone was asking us on our live or something about are we too high on Jalil Farouk? Are we too
drunk on him or something? Yeah. That was the question.
Are our expectations too high because he had one good game in the bowl game? I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying, maybe our expectations shouldn't be quite as high, and we go with a little bit more of the experienced guys. I'm not sure.
Drake Stoops or Jalil Farouk, who has more yards this year, in your guys' opinion?
I'm going to go with Jalil, but solely on the fact that it seemed like he got a lot of targets in the spring game. I'm kind of referring the spring game a lot in my head to who's going to get more time right now. But I would think it'd be crazy to see them pretty even, both in 300-400 yard area.
I'm going to say I think it's going to be Drake Stoops. I think Drake Stoops is going to have a career year.
I hope you're right.
What do you mean by career year? How many yards are you predicting here? Because I mean, I as good as he has been and as reliably as he's been, as much as we love him, look at the number. He hasn't gone above 300. He hasn't hit 300 in his career.
Why don't you just say how you feel? You think Drake Stoops sucks?
I don't. I think he's fantastic. He makes big plays. I love Drake Stoops. And I'm just the numbers. He has not gone to 300 yet in his career. Yet.
I bet he'll be in the neighborhood of 500 yards. I don't think that's unreasonable.
And you don't think Jalil Farouk can get 500 yards?
I don't think, because I believe Theo Wease is going to have a great year, and I think Marvin Mims is going to have a great year. I don't think there's going to be enough targets and Drake Stoops having 500 yards. I could see Marvin Mims and Wease being both 1,000-yard receivers and Drake Stoops being 500 yards.
Shit, that'd be the dream. I'm okay with that. If we have 2,000-yard receivers on the outside, I'm okay with that. I'll play.
Why do you hate Drake so much, bro?
I don't. This is ridiculous. Now people are going to comment that I hate Drake Stoops. And that's not the case. I'm just like, look up the numbers. He has not had more than 16 receptions in a season. And I do think that probably changes this year, because I mean, that's not a super high bar to match up to, but in his 2 years of getting significant playing time, he's got 191 yards and 290 yards or something like that. And that's I looked at it earlier and I'm not 100% sure, but it's in that neighborhood.
When was that? Was that last season?
2020 was his best year in terms of yards, and I think that was 291. And then last year he had 191. So like that almost seems fake, because like he does make big plays, and like you see him out there and you would expect that to be way higher, but like the numbers are that's what they are. So I just don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility for a guy like Jalil Farouk, who had a good bowl game, had a good spring game. He's also having a good spring, to eventually overtake Drake Stoops in terms of production.
It's not insane to say, but I do feel that Wease, Mims, both 1,000 yards, Drake Stoops 500, and then we'll have Farouk and LV Bunkley Shelton sprinkled in there, maybe a JJ Hester or Gibson for 100, 200 yards apiece, somewhere in through there. Jose, I guess I just want to ask, am I over under of Theo Wease? You guys know where I stand. I'm going to set it at 750 yards.
I'm going over
on Theo. Okay, you're going over. Brandon?
Over, but it's close.
Is there anyone you like in this receiving?
Like 800 yards. Yeah, Jaden Gibson, Jalil Farouk. I love all of them. I'm just Marvin Mims. He's going to be over 1,000. I do agree with that take. I have to see it from Theo Wease.
Okay, so we're all over there. Brandon looked like it was pulling teeth to admit over. Drake Stoops, I'm going to set the over-under at 300 yards.
Over. I think he has his best year. I do agree with that. I think he'll.
Just said he sucked.
I never said that. That's ridiculous. No, I've never said. Oh my god, you guys are stupid. I think he's going to be over that. He'll be in the 400-yard area. But him having 400 yards doesn't mean Jalil Farouk can't have 500.
Okay, Jose, where do you sit?
Over as well. I think he would be around the 500 yard area.
Okay, Marvin Mims over under 1,000 yards.
Over.
I hope he gets around 1,200.
Yeah,
or more.
Yeah, I would agree. And then okay, now let's do Jalil Farouk. This should be a fun one. Over under.
Set it super high. Let's see if he goes over.
350 yards.
Over. I think he's closer. I think Jalil Farouk's gonna have a good year, boys. I'm high on him. I'm drunk on Jalil Farouk.
Jose, what do you think?
I'm gonna go over, but like just a smidge. I don't think he breaks the 400 mark, but it'll be like right above 350.
I think it's going to be under. I think he's going to be in the 200 to 300 range.
Why do you think Jalil Farouk sucks, bud?
Dude, he didn't say that.
That's what. Yeah, that's what you guys are coming to me with. You think Jalil Farouk sucks?
Oh, no, you said it explicitly. He did not say that.
I never said that. You guys are going to turn the comments against me, and I'm going to be pissed off reading the shit tomorrow at work.
I just think that he's going to need a little more time. There's a lot of talent in front of him, and I think he's going to develop to be a really good player over the next year or two. But I just see other guys getting more targets and eating it up. All right, so let's move on to the last group, the offensive line. I'm going to kind of go through the starters in my mind. Left tackle, I'm going to think it's going to be Anton Harrison. I don't really see – I know that there was talks of Tyler Guyton or potentially Savion Byrd. I know Savion Byrd could play either left or right tackle. I think Anton Harrison will take that next step and play well. Left guard, I think McCade Mettauer, the transfer from Cal. I think that's pretty obvious why he transferred to Oklahoma. Center, Andrew Rame, or, while Robert Congle's there, I don't really feel like, he might come in for at the end of games. I just don't see Congle being a starter. Right guard, another, a guy that started last year is Chris Murray. I don't feel like he's going to lose his spot. And right tackle is the one where I could see Savion Byrd maybe starting. But Wanya Morris should take the next step. And Brandon, for you, you need to see, in your opinion, you need to see Theo Wease do it. For me, Wanya Morris is that guy for me. He has all the talent, and he had extremely high expectations transferring from Tennessee. And last year did not go the way it was supposed to. I think there were some conditioning issues. There were some other things that he just wasn't quite on the same page as the rest of the staff. And obviously the offensive line did not perform nearly to the standard that we're used to with Coach B. That could be definitely contributed to all the yoga that they were doing last year, not weightlifting. But Wanya Morris for me is someone that I think will start, but I wouldn't be necessarily shocked if someone started over him. And I think it would probably be Savion Byrd because of how talented he is. He's from North Texas, and I think Duncanville, Texas. That's where he came from, and he's extremely good. So I think Wanya Morris knows that someone's going to be right behind him, and I feel like he's going to put it all together this fall. Jose, what do you think?
So I agree with the left tackle. I think Harrison sticks around there. I agree with the center. I agree with Chris Murray being one of the guards. I would love to believe that Bray Walker takes that step to be in the starting lineup, just because, like you've mentioned multiple times, Brum, coming out of high school, he was one of the best linemen in his class, and he just hasn't lived up to that hype. And it's not like we've seen great offensive line play over the last few years. I think he definitely could have been, kind of a victim of that situation because the offensive line wasn't, and I don't think it was Coach B. It was probably the scheme. Gabe Eichert was very outspoken about how that was not a very offensive lineman friendly scheme. So I think that could have been that situation. So hopefully now that he's in a more friendly scheme, he has the opportunity to come in at the other guard position. And for the right tackle, I'm going to go ahead and say Wanya Morris, but I could also see it being Savion Byrd because of how physical he was coming out of high school. But I think Wanya Morris has the ability to stay out there just because he is versatile.
I agree with Brum starting 5. When you were going through it, I kind of that's how I have it too. And I was gonna at Bray Walker because that's the interesting bit because it's if the starting 5 plays that way the whole season as Brum and I see it, it's kind of sad because Bray Walker did have so much talent, so much potential, and I think if he doesn't play this year, he'll never have lived up to it, and that's it sucks, but that's an interesting one. I would love to see if could crack the lineup. I hope to see it actually, but I kind of agree with Brum starting 5 on the lineup front.
Who's your other guard? Can you remind me?
Chris Murray and McCade Mettauer, the transfer from Cal.
Yeah. Do you think either of the freshmen play?
The Jakes. Jake Taylor, Jake Sexton.
I don't necessarily think so. I think they're going to try to. I bet they redshirt him. I mean, unless someone gets hurt.
They're both tackles, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Could there potentially be, if Wanya Morris doesn't impress and Savion Byrd just isn't there, could Sexton or Taylor compete? Maybe.
But would they not be behind Bray Walker, or is Walker going to play more guard?
Well, I mean, here's the deal: is could the freshman jump Bray Walker? I don't know. Like that's the thing is Bray. What's so crazy is Bray Walker is the highest rated recruit that Coach B's ever got, and he's the one that we're still waiting on. And I don't know. I don't think either freshman start, Taylor or Sexton. I think they try to redshirt him because after this year, if Wanya Morris has a good year, if Anton Harrison has a good year, they're both going to the NFL. They're going to need that depth, and that's why they're recruiting so much in this 23 class at the tackle spot.
Another interesting one, I think, to keep an eye on, and I'm not saying he's going to start, but I think it's interesting to me. Damn it! No, I just forgot his name. The guy who he was a defensive tackle, switched to offensive line.
Hicks.
David
Hicks. Marcus Hicks. David Hicks is the 2023 target. But yeah, Marcus Hicks. I feel like he wouldn't make the switch from defensive line to offensive line unless there was something there. Like he felt like he could play the position and two, I don't think Bill Bedenbaugh would make him or would, be on board with the switch if there wasn't some sort of plan for him to get playing time at least eventually soon. I think he's an interesting one to keep an eye on is Marcus Hicks. His name escaped me at first, so thanks, Hose.
Yeah. Yeah, I know he blew out his Achilles tendon before he made the switch. And I wonder if that played a role in if he just didn't have quite the same explosive first step or anything like that. But I agree. I mean, there has to be some sort of a way for him to potentially compete and play. He could push Wanya Morris or a McCade Met-Tower. Someone is going to get pushed. He's another guy that I was really excited about when he was coming in as along that defensive line, and he definitely could. So I don't know. I mean, this offensive line as a whole with Coach Smitty and Coach B, I feel like this offensive line is what we're going to be expecting. And I do not necessarily see Oklahoma really struck out of the gate line. I think they'll be dominant. Struggle, the first couple games that they're really in my mind, I feel like a lot of one spot really up for tackle. I think the rest is pretty set in stone. I think they come out and dominate and they play really well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if there's going to be a lot of rotation at the beginning of the season. It seemed like last year there was constant having to sub in someone because someone was underperforming. That it wasn't like a consistent unit playing I'm sure I'm wrong, but it just felt like there wasn't a consistent unit playing for more than a game and a half together for the full game. So, and I think you're right with Coach Smitty there. That'll probably change.
I hope not. That's like the one position that, receivers you can rotate in and out, running backs you can rotate in and out. Quarterbacks and offensive line, you can, especially offensive line. You can't be rotating in. I think they need to build that cohesiveness together, and hopefully we find a starting five relatively early, no matter who it is, and they can click and gel and have a good year up front. It all starts with them.
Yeah. I just hope we don't see UTEP pushing our offensive line at all. I don't think they will. I think maybe last year they would have, but I don't think after this whole year of, or I guess 6-8 months or whatever it'll be with Schmitty, I don't think it's gonna happen like that. So overall, I think this offense is gonna be really good. While this might not be the number one offense in the country, if Dylan Gabriel stays healthy, there's no reason why this can't be a top 15 offense in the country. In my opinion, in all of FBS football. Top 15, I don't think is ridiculous.
I agree.
I think we'd be top 10. I think it's going to be a pretty good offense. I don't think we're going to miss too much at all as far as last year. I don't think there's going to be a big drop-off, if at all, from last year. Even if OU was like number 15 or even the 20th offense and they were the 20th ranked defense, I feel like that is – I feel like that's amazing.
20 and 20. That's good for me. 2020.
I don't
Is that
think
your vision?
we'll be that.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be that low though in offense.
I don't think so either.
Do you really
It'll
have
probably-
2020?
No, I don't. I've been wearing contacts for years now, so no way. So no, I think top 15 is reasonable. Defense, I know we didn't talk about defense, but I think the defense very well could be top 35.
I hope it's higher than that. I have high expectations for the defense, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
I do too, but I think we have to remember that you got to give a few years of Venables and his staff recruiting and developing their players. And not that the players that OU has now are not good, but I just think it takes just a bit. But still top 35, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
Year one. So
Maybe we'll do a video on them next time.
yeah, I say we do that. So Brandon, unless Jose or you have any final thoughts, do you want to do your end of video challenge?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. For those of you who stuck around and don't hate me because you think I think Drake Stoops sucks because these idiots talking about – I don't think Drake Stoops sucks. I think he's really, really
Dude,
good.
quit pushing your propaganda.
I'm a big fan. I'm not pushing propaganda. That's what Brum does. But so I'm going to Padre next week. I'm pretty excited. It's family vacation type deal. I have asked for recommendations when I've hit the road before for Boise, for wherever else, Florida, Miami. We asked for Miami recommendations. So I feel like some of y'all have been to Padre. Where are the good spots to go on Padre? It's my first time. So yeah, drop your Padre recommendations.
Padre recommendations. Well, just try to come back alive. That's all you got to do, right? That's the recommendation.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. So made it this far. You listened to us go through this whole offensive breakdown. Let us know what you think also on any of the starting positions. Is Brandon just a hater of Drake Stoops, or do you agree with him, or what do you think overall of this whole offense?
You guys are so stupid. Oh
yeah. Like Drake Stoops, but I see his point. There's a valid argument that he has only put up 300 yards in a single year. That's unreasonable for any other Jalil Farouk or anyone to come in and do that. So I get his point. Be sure to let us know what you think overall. Do bring a video challenge. You've been to South Padre Island. Let him know where he needs to go. If you made it this far, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell, like the video, and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify, be sure to leave us a review. It helps us out a lot. And we will catch you guys on Friday.